Welcome to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining me as always. And we've got a good one for you today. We're going to break down the 10 most important Washington Commanders for the upcoming 2025 season. And yes, folks, I understand that they have not had a draft yet, and they could have a stud player that they could take at 29, or maybe they can trade up or trade back. All the things that we talked about on yesterday's podcast. But today, we're going to talk about the guys who are already under contract, who are already on the roster, not potential trades, not any of the draft picks that are coming, but the guys that are already part of the Washington Commanders 2025 roster, basically the vets. Okay. So before we get into that, we'd like for you to subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, what's up? If you see right there, that little red button that says subscribe, that means you haven't done so. So please, my friends, hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the podcast, and you'll get updates and all good stuff. As soon as it hits, you'll be the first to know. If you want to subscribe to the podcast via all the audio carriers such as Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spreaker, Deezer, I can't even name all of them. SoundCloud, they're all there. You know, it's there. The podcast is there, and it's under the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Man, you know, we've got so much good stuff that's going on with this show, and it's building because of you. And I'm greatly appreciative of everyone that takes, 20 minutes out of their day. And then when we have our Friday fan days, which will be coming up again this Friday. So if you want to come on that, all you have to do is email me at thelakeLewisJrShow@gmail.com. Several of you have done that, and you see, we get back to you, and you guys are penciled in for this Friday. So we're going to have a lot of people on Friday's broadcast. And if you want to be one of those folks, once again, all you have to do is email me at thelakeLewisJrShow@gmail.com. When in the off season, it's always, tough to come up with topic matter. Obviously I cover this team. This will be my 16th season covering the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington Redskins. It'll be my 19th season covering the NFL. Hopefully I didn't date myself by saying that. But I say all that because in the off season, this is when I feel like as media, we should be reaching out to you, the fans, and, keeping your pulse alive, because when you have a special season like the Commanders had last year, everybody wants to keep this train going. Everyone wants to see what's going to be their next move, who's going to be coming in free agent wise, who's going to be traded, who's going to be cut. We still have to go through that as the next couple months progress when you get through camp. But I think for me, this was always the time of the year that I really enjoyed it. I always said you make your name in the off season, not during the season. And I think for me to keep you guys engaged and keep you guys, in tow with everything that's going on, it feels great when I get these compliments, and I've been getting quite a few of them. So we're going to keep this train rolling. And anytime I have any kind of weird topic matter in my head, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to give it to you. So today I was just thinking who could be a most valuable player for this team? We already know who it is, but for the sake of putting together a top 10 list, that wasn't easy because there's a lot of worthy veterans on this team. There are, even some new people that were signed that I didn't have in my top 10 that clearly could have been on the top 10. I think Will Harris is going to be a huge, huge addition to this football team, and I think he's going to show a lot of people who were down after Jeremy Chin went to the Raiders. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to be eating crow after this season. They're going to be like, this guy was really good. So, Adam Peters is working his magic. He's working his mojo. Just sit back and relax and enjoy finally having a competent front office for once for this football team, and just watch what they do. I think it's too soon to say if something's failed or if it hasn't. I think it's too soon to panic. I think it's too soon for people to, play armchair quarterback. Let that man who knows what he's doing do what he does. And then after the end of the year, you can assess it. And if you look at what happened last year, the assessment was he did a phenomenal job in free agency. He did a phenomenal job in changing the culture of this team. He did a phenomenal job representing the brand of the burgundy and gold. And now in year 2, why would you not think it's going to be even better after having a full season of evaluating guys 1 through 53, even practice squad players, They didn't really have that luxury here, Dan Quinn, last year, because when they were hired and brought on, everything was full steam. He had to find a coach, which he did, and then he had to find players, which all of them collectively had to do. So I think they're operating under one heartbeat in Ashburn now, and I'm really excited about this offseason. So in coming up with my topic matter today, it was hard to come up with 10 guys because I think that there's 30 that were worthy to be on this top 10, and I legitimately mean that. I mean, there were a lot of guys that I left off this list that I'm going to have to face in the locker room. It goes with the territory, but I do think that they'll look at the 10 that I have on this list and say, you know what, Lake, you nailed it. You got it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so we're going to have this for about the next 15, 20 minutes. We like to keep these sessions short for you so that you don't lose interest if you haven't done so already. So at number 10 on my list, and here he is right here, needs no introduction, Mikey Sainristil, the rookie, last year from Michigan. He'll be in his second year this year. What can you say about this kid? I mean, he played lights out football, was everything as advertised coming from Michigan, where he was an All-American. When he was in Michigan, I thought Mikey was a lot bigger than when I saw him up close and personal because the way he plays. He's a physical guy. He's grabby, very much a technician and very smart. And he's also done something that I think a lot of young corners who played in Washington should have done to still be in Washington, and that was to consult Darryl Green. And I know Mikey does that quite a bit. The young man, smart, he gets it, and I think that the sky's the limit for this guy. I do think he could be a legit starting outside corner, but I think for Washington, I think they may want to get a corner that has a little bit more size and move Mikey into the inside where he can cover slot receivers, but still not limit him to just specifically being in the slot. But he can be a Swiss Army knife and play everywhere, and he will get reps on the outside as well. But I think it just gives them another viable corner. I know Jonathan Jones was signed. He's a legit veteran, but I still think they're going to go corner via the draft. But Mikey Sainristil hits my list at number 10 as far as 10 most important and valuable commanders that are going to have big seasons in 2025 in order for this team to take the next step. All right, next on the list, and here we go. Boom, right here in your face, Brian Robinson. And I know some of you are saying, Brian Robinson? Yeah, Brian Robinson, B-Rob. Brian Robinson's a really good running back in the NFL. It's just that he's not a home run running back. But that's okay because all you have to do is look at the Detroit Lions and you see Sonic and Knuckles there. You see Montgomery and you see Gibbs and you see what they can do collectively together. Everyone knows Jahmyr Gibbs is the big play guy. Montgomery's more the sledgehammer, kind of soften you up for Gibbs. Well, I think Brian Robinson would be tailor-made to be in that kind of role where he had a legit complimentary running back with him. And Austin Eckler's good. I like Chris Rodriguez. Heck, Jeremy McNichol is a viable professional running back, but we're talking about a game changer, a game breaker. Washington doesn't have that on their roster right now, and I think that they're going to go out and get that. Maybe a guy like Travion Henderson from Ohio State could be sitting there at 29, or perhaps you trade back into the second round and still get him and get yourself maybe an edge rusher on top of that. So with that said, before we move on to the 8th person on our list, who I'm sure you're going to like as well, I did want to preface this by saying I was tempted to put it number 10. No offense to Mikey, but I was tempted to put it number 10. Whoever they draft, whoever their first draft pick is. I was thinking that you could just put that person on there because they're going to be important. And I'm thinking realistically edge rusher. So an edge rusher clearly would crack the top 10 list on here, but we don't know who that edge rusher is yet. And the edge rushers that they have are good. Dorrance Armstrong's good. Cleveland Farrell's good. But, Dante Fowler, their leading sack guy, is gone now. So that edge rusher is still kind of question marks right now as far as what they're going to do with that position. Do they make a trade for Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati? I doubt it. But still, that's why I didn't put edge rusher or rookie at number 10. All right. So at number 8, we had Brian Robinson at 9, Mikey Sainristil at number 10. And you can see here in front of you right now on the screen, number 8, Zach Ertz. That's right. The old man. I know he doesn't mind me calling him that. But Zach Ertz had a renaissance year last year, led by Jaden Daniels, getting him the football. And if any indication of the way he ended his season in Philadelphia with 11 catches in that NFC Championship game, it told you he was coming back. Everyone that was concerned that he was going to retire or not be re-signed, no chance. And you know what? Because that guy is Jaden Daniels' security blanket on the football field. Terry's the big play guy. We know that. But Zach Ertz is the guy that had a great chemistry, and he also does stuff that you don't see that I see and my colleagues see who cover the team. At practice, they're always talking. You know, he was always in Jaden's ear going back to training camp last year, mini camp, just giving him advice, sound advice on what to look for, what he sees as a veteran. And I think having him back just makes Jaden Daniels in this offense so much better. And more importantly, he's the ultimate professional. He shows the young guys, the Ben Sinnets of the world, the John Bates of the world, that tight end room, how you get it done and how you do it every single day, working hard and busting your tail. So Zach Ertz is on the list at number 8. All right, moving along here quickly. At number 7 on the list, right here on your screen. Here we go. That's right, folks. Deebo Samuel. I know he's new to the team and he hasn't played a down yet, but if you don't know what this guy can do, then you must have been smoking. I'm just saying, because this is a hell of a football player who brings a tenacity, an anger, if you will, to this Washington offense now. Terry McLaurin already was the physical guy, but now you have another one, and you have one that's even more dynamic that can run the football. He can run it from the backfield. He can get the ball in the slot. He can stretch you. He can just, make your corners come up to play physical football. Make your linebackers now be wary of where he is on the field because he might get a bubble screen and take it to the house. And besides that, if you're a Commanders fan, you should feel good about this because he doesn't like the Eagles, and the Eagles don't like him. So now it's added a little bit more spice to this rivalry that's building right now. So Deebo Samuel comes over from San Francisco. He's a guy that's been one of the faces of their franchise for a long time. Just a tough player, like I said before, but productive across the board. So I think he's a great fit for the Washington Commanders. So he's the first new face that I have on this list. And, there might be one or two more. We'll see. But right now, Deebo Samuel is at number 7 on our list. Moving along to number 6 on the list. And right here up on your screen, no surprise, Marshon Lattimore. And yes, I said Marshon Lattimore. For everyone that's out there saying that Marshon Lattimore is washed and he didn't look good last year, you do understand that he was making a difference on the football field, whether you saw it or not. He was covering a lot of the team's best guys. A couple games, they didn't throw the ball his way. New Orleans, they didn't throw the ball one time his way. You go to the Philadelphia game, the first time he played against Philadelphia, which was a home game in Washington, the game that Jaden Daniels threw 5 touchdowns and Washington came back and won. Yes, Jalen Hurts was knocked out that game, but that Philadelphia number 1 ranked defense was held hostage by Jaden Daniels that game. So stop the whole Jalen Hurts was hurt. That's why you won. A win is a win is a win. They won. Marshon Lattimore got beat several times in that game by A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, but he also made a lot of plays as well. And then I go to the NFC Championship game. I like guys to show toughness, to show fire. Yeah, sometimes you got to rein it in a little bit. You don't want to get unnecessary, penalties and things like that. But that's how he plays. And I'm sure Adam Peters and Dan Quinn knew that they were getting a feisty, competitive guy to play corner. And last time I looked, outside of this past year, I don't know, we just had Mikey at number 10 on the list, deservingly so. But you go back to years past, corners were getting beat like drums. Literally, there were bongos out there. And now when you see guys standing up to the guy that's beating them, no more of these guys putting their leg up on these guys like a fire hydrant. Now you're going to fight in this game. You're going to be, challenged. And I think what we saw with Marshon in that NFC Championship game was just a sign of what you should expect going forward, but albeit a healthier player, because he was traded from New Orleans with a hamstring injury, and you could tell he was never right. You could tell it was just never right for him, but that shows you how tough he was, that with a hamstring injury, he was battling some of the game's best receivers, okay, and held his own at times. Well, now I'm expecting this year for Marshon to hold his own even more. All right, so I have Marshon at number 6 on the list, Marshon Lattimore. All right, moving along. Now we're getting into the good stuff here. The top 5 on this list. And at number 5, I have who? You're thinking, who's he going to say? I'm telling you right now, Frankie Luvu. Frankie Luvu is one of the most important pieces on Washington's defense, if not the most important piece right now, because he does so many things. But more importantly, he's a tone setter. He's a guy that will knock your block off if you aren't expecting it. We've seen it several times this year in games where he put guys to sleep. I just mentioned Jalen Hurts. Sorry, but that's what happened. Okay. We saw him set the tone in a lot of games, and he's only going to get better. This guy was already ascending when Washington brilliantly, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn brought him from Carolina, where he was already starting to make a name quietly. It's just that team stunk, so no one really knew about him. But last year in Washington, you saw him. Hence, he made the Pro Bowl, his first for his career and not the last. So Frankie Luvu is the tone setter for Washington's defense and a huge part of what they're going to do this year to be successful. I think he takes another step and becomes one of the elite linebackers in the NFL. He's already one of the best, but I mean one of the elite, meaning top 5 caliber player. He can do that at the linebacker spot for the Washington Commanders in his second year with the team. So Frankie Luvu is at number 5. All right, moving along here. On the screen, you see him right now at number 4. You shouldn't be surprised. Frankie Luvu's running mate, Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner, the heart and soul of this Washington Commanders team. In his first year, came in, brought in class, brought structure, professionalism, and Hall of Fame play. I mean, he made the Pro Bowl last year. I mean, for a guy to be in 11 straight Pro Bowls, that tells you how good this guy is. More importantly, it tells you what he studies. It tells you how he prepares for the game. And again, just a signature player under Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. These are the type of players that they want, guys that are prepared on Sundays, guys that if they're not prepared on Sundays, you won't know it because they're prepared on Sundays. And I think for Bobby Wagner, I know he's going to be up there in age at 34, but I'm telling you, he still can ball. He still can get it done. And I think he's the ultimate tutor for this young football team, to be able to know how to get it done. Hell, even some of the veterans that are going to come in free agency wise now are going to still look at Bobby Wagner and marvel at how he gets it done. And he may even make their games better at the later parts of their careers. So Bobby Wagner is a huge reason why I think the Washington Commanders have a legit chance to, play against the Philadelphia Eagles again in the NFC Championship. I know Detroit, Minnesota, some teams have something to say about that, but Washington to me has the second best chance, as far as making it to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. Philadelphia has the best chance, of course. Bobby Wagner at number 4. And then moving along here at number 3, right here on the screen. Boom! Laremy Tunsil. Another new face for the Washington Commanders and a huge, important cog, as part of what they're doing here at left tackle. Washington hasn't had a left tackle this talented since Trent Williams. And Trent Williams went to San Francisco and still continues to produce to this very day. Laremy Tunsil's younger, though. 6 years younger to be exact. So you still have some really good football left in Laremy Tunsil because left tackles don't age like guards and centers. Sorry, Tyler. Sorry, Nick and some of the guys there and Sam. Sorry, my dudes. But tackles don't age. They just don't. They're like fine wine. They age well. So Laremy Tunsil, as he said out of his own mouth, still feels like he has his best football ahead of him. So that's a great sign if you're a Commanders fan. So Laremy Tunsil comes in to protect Jaden Daniels, the most important investment that the Washington franchise has probably ever had in the history of their franchise. And I'm just being upfront about this because he's a quarterback and he's a damn good one. He has the potential to be a top 5 guy if he's not there already. We've talked about that on other shows. We're not going to go back there. He is top 5. But anyway, yeah, Laremy Tunsil, big time move by Adam Peters to trade for him and bring him in. So he's another new face that I have on the list, and he's really high. But I think you have to understand why he's there at number 3 because he's a left tackle. Every right-handed quarterback needs that. Every time they need that to protect themselves, and Washington brings him in to protect their biggest investment, which is Jaden Daniels. So great move. Laremy Tunsil at number 3. And now our final two here. They go hand in hand, and everyone knows who they are. And there's no, hidden order here. There's no overthinking this. Number 2 is Terry McLaurin. And number 1, I'm saying it together because they go hand in hand. Number 1's Jayden. We already know Jayden Daniels. The reason why I wanted to say them together, again, they go hand in hand. And if you thought that first year was good with these two guys, imagine what year 2 is going to look like now that Terry's got some other help with Deebo. Now that Jayden's got a guy to protect his blind side in Laremy Tunsil. It all goes hand in hand here. And for these two guys, I think that they're getting ready to put themselves, and I legitimately mean this, folks. I think if you look at the best quarterback receiver tandem in football, there's no question that is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Justin Jefferson, sorry, you got a new quarterback. You got J.J. McCarthy now. So number 2 on the list is Jayden and Terry. But I got a feeling that this year they're going to be putting heat on Joe and Jamar. I literally think that tandem is something for the ages, and it's only going to get better. I'm excited about these two guys and what they bring to the table. Every game, every practice, every time they're representing that burgundy and gold, they do it the right way. And if you are judging this top 10, you can put guys everywhere. But I know for a fact you're not changing my 1 and 2. Terry McLaurin, number 2, Jayden Daniels, number 1. They deserve to be there. So there you have it, folks. And now I'm going to put the whole list up here for you so you can see who I have here. So once again, at number 10, Mikey Sainristil, cornerback. Did a great job last year. All right, here we go. Brian Robinson at number 9, running back that I think sometimes people underestimate. He's good, but he needs another viable person in that backfield that's more of a home run threat to make it a good thing for him. All right, at number 8, Zach Ertz, the wily veteran tight end that the team goes to in crunch time, led by Jayden Daniels. That guy looks for Zach Ertz all the time. And then at number 7, Deebo Samuels brings that toughness and tenacity to the offense now coming from San Francisco. Marshon Lattimore brings that toughness and tenacity to the defense on the back end. And I think you're going to see a Pro Bowl caliber season from Marshon again. Number 5, Frankie Luvu, the heart and soul of this Washington Commanders defense, will knock you into next week and not ask questions. He's at number 5. And then Bobby Wagner, probably the brains of the whole outfit. One of the smartest guys in the history of the game. First ballot Hall of Famer at linebacker. He's at number 4. Laremy Tunsil, the all-pro Pro Bowl tackle that's now wearing burgundy and gold and will be here to protect Jayden Daniels, is at number 3. Terry McLaurin, the face of the Washington Commanders. And I know Jayden's on his heels, but Terry's still the face of the team because he's been here the longest and he's endured a lot of nonsense. And now for him to be able to win and be in these situations, kudos to him. And also Terry, my dude, that's my guy. Congrats on the wedding. All right. And then at number 1, Jayden Daniels, the young gun, the young superstar, as I like to call him and tease him in the locker room. He's too smooth. That's what he is. He's just California cool. That's what I call him. This is one of those faces of the league in the making. He's one of the faces for this franchise for the long time foreseeable future, and everything that he has coming his way, he's deserving of. So here we go, folks. That's our top 10 for today. I thought I'd come on and hit you up for about 20, 25 minutes, and I think look at the 24 minutes. So that clock in there is working for me, folks. I'm getting old, but it's still there. So remember that. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. As always, subscribe to it. Hit that red button right there if you haven't done so. If you have, I appreciate it. You can subscribe to all the audio carriers as well. And remember, Friday Fan Day is coming up. If you want to come on, email me at thelakeLewisJr.show@gmail.com. Appreciate you joining my friends. We'll have some more content coming up later this week for you. Have a good one. Be safe.